Relativism is one of the most dominant philosophies facing the culture, yet it can be destroyed with one simple question. By the end of this session, you will understand what relativism is, identify examples of relativism in the culture, and be able to demonstrate how relativism is self-refuting. In the last session, we looked at why truth matters. We also saw that truth has been under attack since the beginning of creation. It shouldn't surprise us then that people are asking if there is such a thing as truth. In other words, is truth relative? Now, when I use the word relative, I'm not talking about relative in the scientific sense. For example, it's true that I'm not moving, but it's also true that I'm moving 1,000 miles per hour as the Earth spins. It's also true that I'm moving at nearly 70,000 miles per hour as the Earth orbits the Sun. So my velocity is relative to my reference frame. This is called relativity. But we're not talking about relativity. We're talking about relativism. We're not talking about physics. We're talking about metaphysics. So what is relativism? Well, simply put, relativism is the belief that there is no universal objective truth. Truth only exists in relation to individuals or cultures. This philosophy, by the way, isn't new. The ancient philosopher Protagoras, 500 BC, claimed man is the measure of all things. By that, he meant that each man determines truth for himself. He said, something is to me as it appears to me, and is to you such as it appears to you. This is equivalent to the true for me but not for you slogan we're so used to hearing today. So some things never change. Relativism is the dominant worldview of today. In fact, I believe many of you watching have been influenced by relativism, and I hope to kind of show you that as we go through this course. In 1987, more than 3 decades ago, philosopher Alan Bloom warned of the influence of relativism. In his book, The Closing of the American Mind, he says this: "There is one thing a professor can be absolutely certain of. Almost every student entering the university believes or says he believes that truth is relative. The student, of course, cannot defend their opinion. It is something with which they have been indoctrinated." This statement was almost prophetic. A couple of years ago, a young man went to the university campus in Washington and asked some basic questions. This video went viral. I think you'll be able to see why. Take a look.
Are you aware of the debate happening in Washington State around the ability to access bathrooms, locker rooms, spas based on gender identity and gender expression?
I think people should be able to have access to the facility.
I think bathrooms could and potentially should be gender neutral because there doesn't need to be a classification for differences.
I think people definitely should have the ability to go into whichever locker room they want.
I feel like at least public universities should do their best to accommodate for those who do not have a specific gender identity.
You know, whether you identify as male or female and whether your sex at birth is matching to that, you should be able to utilize the resources.
So if I told you that I was a woman, what would your response be?
Good for you. Okay, like, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'd be like, what? Really?
I don't have a problem with it.
I'd ask you how you came to that conclusion.
If I told you that I was Chinese, what would your response be?
I mean, I might be a little surprised, but I would say, good for you. Like, yeah, be who you are.
I would maybe think you had some Chinese ancestor.
I would ask you how you similarly came to that conclusion and why you came to that conclusion.
I would have a lot of questions just because on the outside I would assume that you're a white man.
If I told you that I was 7 years old, what would your response be?
I wouldn't believe that immediately.
I probably wouldn't believe it, but I mean, it wouldn't really bother me that much to go out of my way and tell you, no, you're wrong. I'd just be like, oh, okay, he wants to say he's 7 years old.
If you feel 7 at heart, then then so be it. Yeah, good for you.
So if I wanted to enroll in a first grade class, do you think I should be allowed to?
Probably not, I guess. I mean, unless you haven't completed first grade up to this point and for some reason need to do that now.
If that's where you feel like mentally you should be, then I feel like there are communities that would accept you for that.
I would say so long as you're not hindering society and you're not causing harm to other people, I feel like that should be an okay thing.
If I told you I'm 6 feet 5 inches, what would you say?
That I would question.
Why?
Because you're not. No, I don't think you're 6'5".
If you truly believed you're 6'5", I don't think it's harmful. I think it's fine if you believe that. It doesn't matter to me if you think you're taller than you are.
So you'd be willing to tell me I'm wrong?
I wouldn't tell you you're wrong.
No, but I say that I don't think that you are.
I feel like that's not my place as like another human to say someone is wrong or to draw lines or boundaries.
No, I mean, I wouldn't just go like, oh, you're wrong, like that's wrong to believe in it. Because I mean, again, it doesn't really bother me what you want to think about your height or anything.
So I can be a Chinese woman.
You. Sure.
But I can't be a 6'5" Chinese woman.
Yes.
If you thoroughly debated me or explained why you felt that you were 6'5", I feel like I would be very open to saying that you were 6'5", or Chinese, or a woman.
I'm not going to weigh in here on the transgender issue. That's not our project. What I want you to notice is how no one will tell him that what he's saying is not true. No one will tell him he's wrong. Here's why. Relativism won't allow it. Relativism dictates that whatever you believe is true for you. Therefore, we can never say that someone else is wrong. By the way, the scenarios in this video are not merely hypothetical. How many of you have heard of Rachel Dolezal? Well, Rachel is a chapter president of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She became famous when it was discovered that she's not really a colored person. She's not black, she's white. But she was changing her hair and her skin color to appear to be black. A younger photo of Rachel reveals actually she's a blonde white girl with 2 white parents. But here's the thing.
Let me just ask you the question in simple terms again, because you've sent mixed signals over the years. Are you an African-American woman?
I identify as black.
She identifies as black. Being black is true for her. She believes she's black, so she is black. Or maybe you've heard of Emil Rattlerband. When Emil was 69 years old, his doctors told him that he's got the health of a much younger man. As a result, Emil petitioned the courts to legally change his age from 69 to 49. Being 49 was true for him. He feels younger, so he is younger. Listen to Emil for yourself.
And I feel I suffer under my age because I'm much more younger than my 68. So when I ask for a mortgage, for example, they say it's impossible. If I go on Tinder, then I get women from 68, 69. When the women are there. And when I'm on Tinder, then they say, okay, then you can lie for your age. You say you're 49. I don't want to lie. I want to be myself. So don't force me to lie. But when I'm really 49 again, I will have a baby again. I will buy a new car again. I will paint my house again. I'm going outside and I invest my money again. Because now I'm old man, I have to save my money to give to my kids so they can live. But if I have that age again, I have hope again. I'm new again. And the whole future is there for me again.
So how does this happen? Well, in a word, relativism. At the 2018 Golden Globes, Oprah Winfrey stood before the crowd and said,
"What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have."
Speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have. Do you see the problem with this statement? Rachel Dolezal and Emil Rattlerband were just speaking their truth. The problem is, there isn't your truth or my truth, there is only the truth. If something is true, it's true for everyone. So the bad news is our culture is deeply influenced by relativism. But here's the good news. We can easily show relativism is false. That is, relativism can't possibly be true. Let me show you. Take the relativist claim there is no truth. Well, what's wrong with that statement? Well, they think the claim is true. So to expose the faulty thinking, simply ask the relativist, is that true? Or more obviously, is it true that there is no truth? I mean, what are they going to say? This is called a self-refuting claim. It's self-refuting because when the claim is applied to itself, it refutes itself. Now, maybe that went a little too quickly for some of you. So here's a couple fun ones so you can get the feel for self-defeating statements. If I said, I can't speak a word in English, well, when spoken in English, that defeats itself. If I said, my brother is an only child, Well, if he's my brother, then he can't be an only child, right? When Piglet knocks on Winnie the Pooh's door and Winnie the Pooh says, "No one's home," well, you have to be home to say no one's home, right? Or maybe you've seen those wacky headlines in the tabloid magazines as woman gives birth to her own biological father. Does anyone need to go investigate that claim to see if it's true? Of course not. Or how about Justin Bieber, his song Never Say Never? Well, the Biebs just refutes himself, right? Because he says never. Likewise, relativism is self-refuting. The relativist believes it's true that there is no truth. He believes his true for me but not for you philosophy is true for everyone, not just for him. Many, even some Christians, have been taken in by this fallacious philosophy without even realizing it. It seems so appealing at first, but after some careful thought and a simple question, relativism is easily shown to be false. We've seen that truth must exist. We end up affirming it when we try to deny it. But what is it? What is the nature of truth? In the next session, we're going to look specifically at this question.